All right, we are now meeting and we're going to go over the Gospel Essentials essay. I'm going to share my screen with you. And this is week 5. And so I wanted to take some time to go over this assignment with you so that you can know my expectations, mostly my expectations, and so you can do well on your essay. Now, I know that the essay is the big 120 points assignment, but it is not. It may feel overwhelming right now, but I think once we go through it, hopefully your anxiety will feel a little bit less on the scale, because I know that mine has been high because of all the stuff that's been going on. But hopefully I can help you today with your essay and how to move forward. All right, so first of all, this is basically the format of what I'm going to share today and talk about. First, the instructions. I'm just going to clarify the instructions of the essay itself, and then I'm going to clarify the rubric, go over how I am interpreting the rubric. The rubric is there for the professors and the students, but there is just a little bit of wiggle room in the rubric when the instructors grade. So it's not going to be terribly different than another instructor, but there are some fine points that I want you to know so you can strengthen your grade and strengthen your work. And then I'll have a time for questions. So we're going to try to move through this quickly. And first of all, we're going to go to the instructions. And I'm just going to share my screen. I do not know exactly what it looks like on your side, and but I'm going to go ahead and share what I see on my page. Okay, so when you go to the path and then you go down to topic 5, I've got the benchmark gospel essentials here. And so these are the instructions in this assignment. You'll demonstrate your understanding of the Christian worldview, including the main topics that you've covered up to this point. You're going to summarize, this is a key word here, summarize, and analyze the essential elements of the gospel. So this is the nature of God, nature of humanity, nature of Jesus, and restoration, and then reflect on the implications for the Christian worldview. So this is a 1,500 to 2,000 word essay. So that is key. Using at least 4 resources. Here are the 4 that you need to remember. 2 from your course resources. So it could be the textbook, the topic overview, and the Bible. And remember, the Bible, no matter how many different passages you use, it only counts as one source. Okay, so if you use Genesis, one time and then you use John 3:16 another time, it's only going to count as one source. So there's 2 course resources and at least 2 other sources from the GCU library to support your points. So that, and I can go over exactly how to kind of refine that search for you at the end if you guys remind me if I don't remember. Okay, so then you're going to begin your paper with an appropriate introduction. You're going to have in that introduction a thesis statement, which includes the purpose of the paper. You're going to present the gospel essentials, nature of God, nature of humanity, nature of Jesus and restoration, Christian foundation, and an analysis of the implication of the Christian worldview. So this is going to be, all of this information here will be present in your introduction, what you're going to do. That's kind of the outline of your introduction. You can have a different hook in the first sentence, but you're going to bring all of this into your introduction, that this is the direction of your paper and where you're going to go. Okay, so you can use the Gospel Essential template, and I've got a help aid template as well. Basically, all I'm doing is just rewriting the rubric into the different paragraphs, and then that's basically what my help aid template is. So it's a little bit more understandable when you go over each paragraph. Okay, so based on the Christian worldview, so this is not based on your worldview, but the Christian worldview. Write at least one paragraph for each of the following components. The nature of God. So when you look at, this will be the second paragraph. So you're going to keep the subtitles or the headings. So the introduction, the nature of God, and then in this next paragraph, you're going to discuss what is the triune God like. So make sure you're talking about the Trinity. What are God's characteristics? So we talked about this in topic 2, the attributes and the characteristics of God. God is love. God is omnipotent, omnipresent. God is good, kindness, those types of attributes. Okay, and then what is his creation? So you can briefly, you don't need to move over the, hang on a minute. You don't have to go word for word over the account of creation, but you're just going to take a little bit and say, God created humanity, God created all animals, the universe according to Genesis 1. So this is according to the Christian worldview. Okay, so even if you do not adhere to the Christian worldview, that's okay. You can still present it and say, according to the Christian worldview, this is what the Christian worldview believes about the nature of God. Secondly, the nature of humanity. So this is your third paragraph. What is human nature? What is human purpose? What is the root cause of human problems? So this is where we looked at were humans created? What were humans created as? The image of God? Is humanity good, bad, born good, bad? I'm really like simplifying it. It's not this simple, but I apologize because my son is kind of distracting me. Trying to keep going anyways. So I'm the main babysitter today. So you just take, what is the human nature? What is human purpose? So we're created in the image of God. What is the purpose? What is the root cause of human problems? And then you talk about the fall of humanity a little bit. And make sure that you are bringing in supportive detail to each of these sections. And supportive detail doesn't necessarily mean a direct quote. It could mean that you are summarizing the material from the textbook or from the Bible, and then at the end of that summary you put an in-text citation. So you want to make sure you steer clear of too many direct quotes, because that's going to shoot your Lopes Right score up and it's going to overwhelm your paper. What instructors want to hear is your thoughts. How are you processing the information? How do you understand it? Okay, so then on to number 4, restoration. What is the solution to human problems according to the Christian worldview? What role do grace, faith, and repentance play in salvation? How do Christians think that the transformation of self and society happen? So the solution, restoration, according to the Christian worldview, was Jesus coming to this earth as God incarnate, and coming to bring that restoration from that was broken at the fall of humanity. Okay, and so then you can talk about grace, faith, and repentance in salvation in regards to Jesus coming to earth, and the work on the cross and the resurrection. And then how do Christians think that transformation of self and society happens? So basically, you're going to talk about the salvation being a transformation of self. And I think I've mentioned this a couple of times, the fruit of what that looks like is that you're like the fruit of the Spirit mentioned in the Bible. I haven't mentioned those words exactly, but that's what it's referred to in the Bible. Patience, kindness, goodness, self-control, like all of those things. All of those good works, that's the fruit and not the root. Okay, just a minute, bud. All right, and so and that in turn, once a person is changed, then it moves out into society, and hopefully that is a society is brought to be transformed. All right, then you have this is paragraph 6. Christian Foundation summarize how the concepts of the gospel essentials, so how all of these things 1 through 4 constitute the foundation of the Christian worldview. In other words, why are they essential? How are they essential to the Christian worldview? So basically, you're going to summarize here why they are essential. And you're going to, again, bring in supportive detail and make sure you have in-text citations. Number 6, an analysis. So based on the previous 5 prompts, this is your chance to analyze the Christian worldview. You can analyze it according to your worldview by addressing the following questions. What are the benefits or strengths of the Christian worldview as it relates to human value and dignity? Compare the Christian concept of salvation to any other worldview perspective. And again, if you are in a different worldview, you can contrast it to your own. How the Christian worldview influences a person's thinking and behavior. This one, sometimes, I will accept how it should influence a person's thinking and behavior, because unfortunately, many people who call themselves Christians do not act in the way that that you should. So this, if you want to talk about that or touch on that, you could also use that for number 4, that because of the hypocritical nature of many who claim the name of Christ, people find it troublesome or confusing. So you could bring those 2 together if you'd like to. That's just an idea. Or for 4, you could also talk about the different things that are confusing, like the Trinity. It can be very confusing and very difficult or complicated for people to understand or wrap their mind around. So that's one thing, or whatever you feel. Typically in these papers, you're going to write in third-person point of view. But in this one, I'm okay with just in this paragraph. If you want to write in first-person point of view, that's fine, from your worldview. So I'm okay with that. And you just want to make sure, like in the future, when you do have other essays, you make sure your professor is or isn't okay with it. But I'm okay with that here, and maybe in your introduction and conclusion. But if you can stay away from it as much as possible, because essays are more formal. Okay, and then your conclusion, you're going to synthesize these points, pull the paper together, just restate the introduction, basically, reword it. Don't do it exactly and then just change a little word here and there, but just re-summarize it. However, did you answer the questions? Did you you've got to bring in your thesis statement again. So thesis statement intro, thesis statement in the conclusion, and then you have your reference page. Okay, so I'm going to entertain questions for a minute. I'm not finished with the rhetoric yet. We haven't got there yet, but I need to help my son for just a second. And if you have any questions, if you could write them in the chat while I'm doing that. Okay, I will return momentarily. Okay, I am back. Any questions? I don't see any in the chat. Amy, you were saying something, but I can't hear you. Nope. Oh, and Stephanie is here. Hey there, Stephanie. I didn't see you come in.
Oh, needed.
Okay, so we just went over the instructions. Now I'm going to go over the rubric and give you a rundown of the grading process. All right.
Miss Jenkins, where can I find the chat? I'm sorry. Can we do Stephanie's? Yeah. I don't know if she can hear me.
Oh, yeah. I'll mute you. You're muted now. Okay, let me get the rubric up and then sharing my screen again. All right, so on the, and I don't know, again, because I can't see your view, you have a different view on the Loud Cloud than I do, but in the rubric, there are descriptions of what I'm grading on. So the first one is going to say the nature of God. So it's the second paragraph in, does your paper provide a well-developed, clear, excuse me, and third, description of the nature of God. So all of those things that we talked about, is it well-developed? Is it clear? Did you answer them? Did you use course materials or GCU library resources? Did you have supportive details with in-text citations here? And were they formatted properly? So if you did all of those things, then you're going to get an excellent. Okay, so if you did most of those things, and maybe you didn't do the formatting right on the in-text citation, maybe you included supporting details and you used course materials or GCU library resources, but again, the in-text citation wasn't formatted right, then I give you a good. And depending on how you're formatting it, if you accidentally leave off an in-text citation, but you write in your sentence, chapter 3 of the book says this, or describes it as this, you know, I'm a little bit more generous to give you that if there's a supporting detail there. All right, and it's a good one. So for satisfactory, excuse me, basically this is just a basic, you've covered everything, but your supportive detail may not, it's probably not there. As in, I don't see any in-text citations, I don't see any attempt at in-text citations or supportive detail. So then I just give you a satisfactory. You hit the main points, but you forgot the supporting detail in your work. All right, and then if you did not hit the main points, you're missing something, one thing or another, you will get less than satisfactory here, because it says here, description does not include supporting details. Or if it's incomplete or unclear, and I'm kind of like, well, you barely getting it, but you didn't really explain the Trinity. Maybe you explained a different idea other than the Trinity, then you'll get less than satisfactory. All right, so for that one. And I grade similarly for everyone. So the nature of humanity, I'm going to look to see what your supporting detail is. Is it formatted correctly? Is your paragraph well developed? Is it clear? Did you hit the main points? Human nature, human purpose, root cause of human problems. So again, if you did all of that and you got the formatting right, you'll get an excellent here. If you did it right, you tried to format it, you'll get good. Here, no real in-text citations, but there is supportive detail. Satisfactory, no supportive detail, less than. So same thing here, nature of Jesus. Same thing for restoration, because it all kind of is, the rubric's the same, but just a different topic. Again, make sure in restoration that you are adding the supporting detail. Some people forget this part. This is important. And then for Christian Foundation, that too. Here you're going to want to make sure that you're adding the library resources. And again, hang on just a second. Hey, bud, can you be quiet? Thank you. I hope you're enjoying the concert from my son, Benjamin. Now it's going to get stuck in your brain, right? So here it says, description demonstrates an above average understanding of how these concepts are essential to Christian worldview. So I want to see here how you're understanding the how it all works together, how it's all connected, and why it's important to the Christian faith. Okay. Analysis again here. I'm okay with you using first person and using your own worldview. That's fine. But just make sure that you are using supporting detail with course materials or the GCU library resources. And that includes in-text citations. So every paragraph that you use, the introduction, you don't have to. And the conclusion, it would be nice to see one in there, but you don't have to. But because because you're presenting these supporting details in each one of the content of your paper, I would like to see that, just so we know, okay, where are you getting your information? Is it reliable source? Is this off the top of your head? It's like that in academics, and it should be like that overall, because I know that at least in our country, there's a lot of things that are flying around as true, not true, fake, so we don't really know what is truth anymore. But when we're writing this paper, we have that foundation. We know, okay, these are reliable sources. These are scholarly, well-researched people, and the Bible especially, that's our foundation. So that's our truth. That's where we extrapolate truth from. All right, and then your conclusion. Is there a clear and concise conclusion connected to the main points with relevant insights about the Christian worldview? If you have some points and you've mentioned everything, you'll get a good. If you have something that just kind of concludes it, ties it up really well, I'm like, yes, you hit the nail on the head, you'll get excellent. Satisfactory would be like you mentioned all the main points, but maybe you don't pull them all together. They're kind of disjointed. I'll still give you satisfactory. Unclear would be there's no thesis. You have the points, but there's not, that thesis isn't repeated from the intro to the conclusion. Okay, unsatisfactory would be there is no conclusion. So thesis development and purpose, let's move on. I'm trying to keep this quick so I don't keep you all too long. But the thesis, is it clear? Is it in the introduction? Is it in the conclusion? Is it hit throughout your paper? Is it all cohesive and together? Is it clear? If it is, then you'll get excellent. If it is maybe in the intro and not in the conclusion, you'll get good. If it's kind of spread out throughout the content of your paper, but it's not like super clear, you can have good. Thesis is apparent. So if I see that you tried either in your conclusion or your introduction and it's kind of there, maybe it's not concise, but it's kind of out there, I'll give you satisfactory. If it's not there at all, then you'll get less than satisfactory. Paragraph development and transitions. Are you transitioning well? Is there a good flow of thought? Are you using grammatical, different things to make your paragraphs flow together, different words, first, second, maybe an important thing, an important part of the Christian worldview, and your topic sentences, are they all just kind of flowing together? And usually you can get an excellent or good here. If they're kind of scattered and not in any order, then you'll get less than satisfactory. The mechanics, are you using academic English? Are you using mainly third person? Is your spelling on key on top. Are you misspelling any words like there, or there? um, are the proper nouns capitalized? God, Bible, Jesus, things like that. Even though I know that there are some worldviews that do not capitalize God, but because we're learning and speaking of the Christian worldview, I ask that you capitalize God as it is considered a proper noun. And paper format, did you use the subtitles? Did you use the template? Did you keep the same format? Is it the same size, color, and font style throughout your paper? That includes your references. Everything needs to be the same consistency. No blue, just black. Make sure any highlights behind your paper are gone. I know sometimes when you copy and paste, and this is something that clues in professors if plagiarism has happened. If you copy and paste something into your paper, generally it will have this yellow tinge behind it. Or it will be a different font size or different font. You want to go in and change that manually. Not that I'm not telling you to plagiarize, but if you're copying and pasting a Bible verse or a quote, that's when you got to make sure. Okay, or a reference, because I know that when you go into the library, you can copy the reference APA format 7th edition right into your paper, and that's fine. But make sure that everything is kind of the same and consistent. All right. And then the documentation of sources. Did you do in-text citations properly? Did you get the formatting of the references right? Did you take off the hyperlinks? Remove any hyperlink. That's the little link, like if you do a URL, you want to remove the hyperlink so when you scroll over it, it won't have this link that will connect you to the website immediately. So you can do that by right-clicking, and usually in this, if you're on that page, it will say remove hyperlink. Okay, this does not give you that right now, but it would if there was a hyperlink. Okay, and indent. Everything is, okay, for the reference, I'm trying to think. The first line is indented. No. The first line is not indented, but all the other lines are. So the first one is not, and all the other ones are. It's opposite in a footnote if you're used to doing footnotes in a different way. So that's why there's a lot of confusion there with that. Yeah, and I think that's mainly it. So if you have, let's say you have the reference page formatted, okay, it's not maybe 100% correct, and the in-text citations aren't 100% correct, but you have most of them correct, I'll give you good. If they're all correct, excellent. If you have them both formatted weird, but you have them there, you'll get satisfactory. If one of them is missing, you'll get in less than satisfactory. Okay. So now I'm going to entertain any questions. Oh, it's Helen using, okay. All right, Helen. There you are. Okay. Awesome. So questions, comments?
So for the sources, it's not specific to each paragraph. Like for example, I don't have to have a Bible verse specifically to the nature of God. It can be any sources in any paragraph.
Yeah, any one of the four.
Okay.
Or well, to library.
Yeah.
But you want to, in the nature of God, you're going to want to use Bible verses.
Yeah.
At least refer to them, because that's where, I mean, that's where they come from originally,
Yeah.
how we know. I mean,
Yeah.
really all of it does, but yeah, you don't have to have all 4 of them in one paragraph.
Okay.
Just 1 or 2, 1 or 2, as long as
One or
it's there.
two. Okay.
And the thing about summarizing the material, wherever you're getting your material, let's say that you use chapter 3 for one of your paragraphs. And so what you need to do, this will help with plagiarism too, is you read it and you put it down, close out the tab. Okay, and then you think about it and you write what you read and through your own words. Okay, and then you go back afterward. After you're done writing that paragraph or that summary, then you go back and say, okay, it was this paragraph, this chapter, and then at the end of that little summary, that's when you put the in-text citation. So you're not direct quoting, you're not plagiarizing. There's nothing wrong with direct quotes, but the problem with direct quotes is when you're using too many of them and it drowns out your own voice. You really want to be careful. I know I did that when I was in school. When I was in college first, I was scared that what I had to say wasn't good. I thought I was a terrible writer, and I probably was at that point because I was just starting out. And so I tended to lean heavily on quotes, and it drowned out my voice, and I couldn't understand. I'm like, I'm giving the supportive detail that you've asked me for. Why am I still getting not bad grades, but poor marks on this part? And I finally realized, oh, it's because I needed to bring in my own perspective on it, and in a way that was still academic and had the support there. All right. And when you're looking in the library, let me see if I can go there. If I can find, let's see. Oh, wait, that's the wrong one.
Is the
Library.
cutoff 5 years for scholarly, or is there no cutoff?
It depends on what level of degree. I think bachelor's is 10 actually, 5 to 10. Master's would be 3 to 5, and then a doctoral is 1 year.
Okay.
So 5 to 10 is
5 to 10.
plenty. Just don't give me anything in 1964.
Okay.
Okay, so I am on the thing. Okay, we've got 2 new students, or 1. Wait, Marcos and Kelly. Good to see you.
Hello.
Hey, I'm hoping that you're coming in late, or you're not thinking that you're coming in early, because I had the time mixed up. I'm sorry.
Oh no.
But I will go over anything that you missed after this is over. We're almost done here. So,
Okay, thank you.
find journal articles. You can find journal articles on here. I would just use, like, you don't have to get too fancy. Let's see what, oh, I gotta get on the library thing here. Okay. Okay, so type in maybe Jesus. Let's see here. That's it. Fall of Humanity. Let's see if this brings up anything. You could use this, the interpretive tradition in Sirach and other Jewish and Christian writings. You have to kind of look through it. Or, let me see, I haven't done this in a while and they've updated everything. Christian worldview. This is a PDF. You might be able to use that. How faith is mattered in a Christian worldview. It's not showing it for me, but I think it would show it probably for you. I don't know what's going on here. C.S. Lewis in the Christian worldview, you could probably use some of his material. This could be a good one. Christian worldview handbook. That would be a good one. Oh, maybe you can't see it. Can you see it now? Christian worldview handbook. Christian worldview, understandings from St. Basil the Great. You could probably find something in there, but you just have to kind of look. Doctrine of Christian worldview, philosophical foundations for a Christian worldview, Jesus in the Christian worldview. Oh, here's another one. This one is a PDF. If I look at these, then it will stop sharing my screen. So I just typed in Christian worldview up here. You could look up crucifixion. Oops. Okay, crucifixion of Jesus Christ. You could find something on understanding the death of Jesus Christ. You could find something there. I haven't read all these, but I'm just saying you could probably find something and pull it out if you need another source. Or if you want to look on your course materials in your book, at the end of the chapters or the topic overview, they give authors and books. You can use those authors and those books and just type them up and look them up in the GCU library and use one of those. So that would be it. Oh, thanks, Amy. We're done anyways. So, and if no other questions, those who have stayed, who came early, you are welcome to go.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome, Holly. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Have a good day.
Bye. Bye. And Sabrina, bye. Bye, Helen. You can stay on. I know you came in late too. If you had any questions, do you have any questions?
No, I'm good. I'm sorry I was late. I was running around with doing something for work and I looked at the clock and I'm like, oh, it's 1:15.
Oh, no worries. I think I messed everybody up with the time change.
No, it's okay. But no, I appreciate you going over the rubric and so I can have a better understanding of what's expected on the essay.
Yeah, no problem at all.
But
Thank you
yes.
for coming. We'll see you
All right.
later.
Yes, ma'am. Bye-bye.
Bye.